Good morning, America. The ruthless conqueror, Ashoka, is with reporter Claire, claiming he is a new man. Thanks, Bob. I'm here with Ashoka. How are you doing, Ashoka?
I'm well, thank you.
I've heard that you were a ruthless conqueror and ruler in the past. How have you changed?
I have changed a lot since being enlightened by the Buddha and converting to Buddhism.
Why did you choose to convert to Buddhism, and how has your reputation changed?
Well, my reputation has changed to an enlightened ruler because after I had the conquest of Kalinga for my Mauryan Empire, I decided to change and I made my 14 pillar edicts.
And behind us, we have the rock pillar edicts, and they were engraved on this rock here, and there were 14 of them, and now Ashoka will share his favorite one.
My favorite edict is Rock Edict 14. The faiths of others all deserve to be honored for one reason or another. By honoring them, one exalts one's own faith and at the same time performs a service to the faiths of others.
Thank you for your time, Ashoka. Thank you, Claire, for that live interview with Ashoka himself as an enlightened ruler. Now on to Lizzie with a new story on the continual split of Islam versus Hinduism.
Hi, Bob. Seems like the split between the two regions isn't easing up anytime soon.
Why not? Is there more tension?
Yes, more tension, especially on the elites. They still remain completely Hindu influenced. This is probably because Islam and Hinduism are such opposite religions. Islam focuses so much on equality, yet Hinduism enforces the caste system.
Oh yeah, we can't forget that Islam has one God, Allah, and Hinduism has one universal spirit with many gods.
For now, let's just hope that the two religions will eventually influence each other and the tension will pass. Maybe the Delhi Sultanate will help for that.
We now have an exclusive interview with the famous William the Conqueror himself. We'll go to Lizzie, who is with him now.
Thanks, Bob. I have William with me now on his views on Europe and how successful he has been as a king so far. How's your journey been?
It's been good. I started as the Duke of Normandy, and then I won the Battle of Hastings last year in 1066, and I became the King of England. And later that year, the Pope crowned me the Holy Roman Emperor.
And how has the feudal system been affecting you so far?
Well, feudalism is a big part of England because it is the political and military system that includes a manor where the social classes interact. And the most important are the lords, which own England's land, and the vassals work for the lords. But the serfs are also important because they work on the land.
Thank you.
Now with more breaking news on the Hanseatic League and current Viking roots and the continuation of the feudal system.
The Hanseatic League is a new group formed in Germany and some parts of Scandinavia that apparently draws up common regulations for the control of shipping of grain, timber, fish, fur, flax, honey, and cloth.
This new Hanseatic League could potentially play a big role in political and commercial aspects.
Speaking of success, we have Claire here with us now and a map of the Viking spread and routes of travel.
Here I have a map with the Viking conquests, and this shows how successful they have been lately. This map especially shows their latest conquest through the European Empire. Here you can see that they have spread from the Scandinavian peninsula onto the European mainland. Thanks, Lizzie. Although we have lost the Crusades, there are positive aspects to our future as Europeans.
Yes, let's look at the positive impacts of the loss. The Renaissance has begun. Our countries are quickly developing and no longer in isolation, and Venice and Genoa are very successful trading centers.
However, because of the fall of both feudalism and manorialism and the decrease of church power, Europe has some political reconstruction to do.
Yes, hopefully with the Renaissance we will have a bright future ahead of us.
Now going across the globe to the Americas, where a few civilizations are advancing in technology and new techniques as we speak. But before we head over to the Mayans, Aztecs, and Incas, let me give you some background on these civilizations. Polytheistic religions were developed and remained their primary religion throughout this time period. However, their agricultural techniques varied from place to place because they were forced to adapt to their environment.
Good afternoon, America. I am here in Central America visiting the Mayans and Aztecs. On the Yucatan Peninsula, the Mayans have created a 365-day calendar to improve their farming techniques. This allows them to keep track of when to harvest, plant, and tend to the crops. And here we are now visiting the militaristic Aztecs on Lake Texcoco. This unique city of Tenochtitlan was built on the islands in the lake connected by the canals. The inhabitable man-made islands were used to farm using chinampas, which were floating gardens. They were large woven reed mats were piled with rich earth from the bottom of the lake. The mud was rich in minerals and made it an ideal way to grow crops. Now over to Claire with more news on the Incas.
Thanks, Lizzie. I'm down in South America, investigating how the Incan Empire is successfully functioning with its extensive borders. I have just received word that we are traveling along the Incan roads, which connect the empire along the Andes Mountains. We have just arrived at an Incan farm, where it appears that they are using a domesticated beast of burden known as the llama to make chores easier. They are also using an agricultural technique called terrace farming, which is required because of the steep hillsides and high elevation of the Andes Mountains in South America. Thank you. Back to you. Now let's go over to Southeast Asia, where the Tang and Song dynasties are changing the typical Chinese culture.
The impact of Confucianism on China strongly influenced their government and social life. The civil service examination gave positions to the government officials. There was also an emphasis on filial piety or elderly respect, and the yin-yang symbol resembling the balance between good and evil. Confucianism was popularly supported by Song emperors.
Yes, the acceptance of Confucianism definitely changed throughout the dynastic rules. For example, the Song dynasty strongly used it, but the Tang used Buddhism more. This led to the creation of Neo-Confucianism. Lizzie, do you mind sharing the news on women's rights in China?
Of course. Women's rights changed during the Song dynasty. Empress Wu Zhao was the first female head ruler in China. She was cruel and murdered many people. Although this was a huge accomplishment for the reputation of women, when foot binding became popular, their status decreased even more. Foot binding was started by an emperor who found women with small feet attractive. Therefore, women bound their feet to make them grow upwards and become small to appeal to elite men.
Wow, that's fascinating. One continuity in China is the dynastic cycle and the mandate of heaven. Now we will go over to Constantinople and Byzantine with Justinian to find out more about his rule. I'm here with Emperor Justinian, who is going to answer a few questions for us. Justinian, how did you codify the Roman law?
Well, I created Justinian's Code for the Byzantine Empire, which was based off the 12 tables.
So you married the beautiful Theodora. How did she convince you not to run away when the revolt started?
My wife has gained lots of power and influence after she suggested we trap everyone who revolted and slaughter them in the stadium.
Oh, that's lovely. Now tell us a little about the Christian Orthodox Church you constructed.
Oh yes, I built this Hagia Sophia, which is an extravagant church and one of my best architectural achievements. And it has a dome on the top, which is one of the biggest in the world.
Thanks, Justinian. Back to you, Bob. Sounds like an exhilarating life, Justinian. I have just received news that Lizzie will be talking to Claire in Rome from Byzantine about the causes of the Great Schism. Lizzie?
Here in Byzantine, we practice Caesar papalism, where the patriarch acts as both the political ruler and the head of the church.
Well, in Western Europe, Roman Catholicism believes in having a separate political leader from the church, which is ruled by the Pope. Why does Orthodox Christianity practice iconoclasm?
We believe that icons in the church, such as saints, interfere with the belief that there is only one God, because sometimes these icons are worshipped as well.
So, as you can see, the West and the East had very opposing views on the Christian religion, causing them to officially split in 1054. Lizzie, do you have anything to add on these changes?
Well, obviously the split in religions is a major change. However, one continuity that remained constant in both Catholicism and Orthodox Christianity is their belief in monotheism, especially focusing on God.
Thank you for all your time, Claire and Lizzie. It's been a pleasure talking with you.